Hi everybody, it's Rebecca Virginia, and today I have some baking themed Christmas DIYs to share with you. Although they are all baking themed or using baking items, not all of them have to do with Christmas, especially this first one. This is a Snowman Muffin Tin, and I am planning to leave this up all winter long. I hate taking down the Christmas decorations, but it's always fun when you get to put up some cute snowmen. Here's what you need to recreate this DIY. I started off this DIY by grabbing one of the muffin tins from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using paint, cinnamon, and Mod Podge on this. So first, I grabbed some sandpaper and just roughed up the surface a little bit. Now I'm moving on to creating a faux rusting effect. Now, you could just take a muffin tin that you have around your house if it is rusty, but I didn't have one, so we're going to create the effect of rust because I don't have the months and time it would take for this to actually rust on its own. So to create this, I took cinnamon, Mod Podge, and a bit of brown paint. I don't know if you could tell, but I accidentally spilled the entire thing almost of cinnamon. Luckily, this was cinnamon from the Dollar Tree, and it was a pretty big container, but I did not mean to spill that much. You don't need that much cinnamon. That was definitely on accident. And what you're gonna do, I found that taking a paintbrush and using a stippling method creates the best faux rusty effect. And what I'm doing to create the effect is I'm dipping my paintbrush in the paint Mod Podge mixture, and then I am dipping it in the dry cinnamon and then just going ahead and stippling it all over the muffin tin, really concentrating in the edges because I think that's where rust would naturally start to grow, on the edges of the muffin tin. And then for aesthetic purposes, I'm going a little bit inside the muffin tin. We'll be painting the bottom section to look like a snowman, but around the edges, I wanted that to have some definition, so I added a bit of that faux rust to that area as well. Next, it's time for what I think is the most fun part of this DIY, and that's beginning to create our snowmen. So I took one of these small sponge brushes from the Dollar Tree and some white paint, and I'm just swirling it on the inside of this muffin tin. And I'm not being precise, I'm being kind of messy because I want this to look very homemade and rustic looking, so I don't want clean edges. I just kind of swirled the paint around. You can kind of see a little bit on the video, but I did go in with just my index finger and a little bit of pink paint, and I went and made one small little dot to kind of be blush on the snowman's cheeks, but it's very, very faint. You can't see it too much. Then I went back in with my detailing tool. It's a daughter tool. You can pick them up at the Dollar Tree, they sell them now. And I went in with black paint, and then in just a moment I'll be going in with orange paint. And I'm just using this to create the dot eyes for my snowman and their smiling faces. And then I went back in with the exact same tool and some orange paint to create the noses. And for the noses, I made them a lot longer and more exaggerated than I usually do. I wanted them to have a bit larger noses in this DIY, so I just had a lot of fun putting them in all sorts of different directions, looking different ways, and finishing off our snowman muffin tin on the inside before we move on to the details that are going to be going on top of it. I added a couple of different embellishments to the top of this muffin tin, but first I took a bunch of these garland picks from the Dollar Tree and kind of created what I called a crown. I ended up using 4 different garland picks to create this arrangement that I hot glued at the top of the muffin tin. And I'm going to be having this up probably all January and February in the winter months. So I wanted to add in some of these snow-covered branches to bring in some of that icy, snowy winterness from outside. And then I added 2 bells that have snowflakes on them to the lower center portion. And I also took 2 cinnamon sticks. I got these in a pack at the grocery store, and I just hot glued those on opposite ends of our topper. And as the final touch, I made a bow out of raffia, and I kept the ends pretty long because I do want it to hang down, so I just hot glued that at a slight angle in the center. If you're planning on just propping this DIY up on your kitchen counter, then you would be done. but I think I'm going to hang this off of one of my kitchen cupboard knobs. So to do that, I took some of this gold wire that I had and I just made it a double so it was a little bit stronger, and made a loop and then hot glued it to the back of the muffin tray. And then once that dried, it was perfect and could hang really easily off of my kitchen cupboards. Hi everybody, it's Rebecca Virginia, and I just wanted to hop on here to say thank you to all of you for supporting me this past year in the comments, the watch views, the likes. I really appreciate it, and I especially appreciate you putting up with my puppy. I know he was in a lot of the videos, and I just wanted to let you all know this will be my last video of the year, but I will be back in January with new videos every Thursday. Thanks! For our next kitchen DIY, we have this adorable hanging gingerbread man. Here are all of the supplies that you're going to need if you want to recreate this project on your own. Alright, so for this next DIY, we're going to be using the foam gingerbread men from the Dollar Tree. And I took the foam and traced it out onto some cardboard. You could use maybe a box that you got in the mail, just peel off one of the sides of it and you can use that. So I cut that out so it was in the gingerbread shape, and then I just took my glue stick, and really the foam gingerbread was more so as a stencil. But I am going to put this on the back of my sign, but if you're going to be hanging it, you don't really need to have anything on the back of the sign because you won't be able to see it. Because what's actually going to be the front is this really pretty 12 Days of Christmas scrapbooking paper I got at Hobby Lobby that has the red music notes on it, and I went ahead and took the glue stick and glued that down too. Then I really want to hang this in my kitchen off one of my cabinets, so I grabbed my red and white baker's twine that I have from the Dollar Tree, and I kind of made a mistake because I should have put it down before I put the foam gingerbread guy on there, but it was okay. It was only using the glue stick, so it was easy to peel that back and then stick the baker's twine down on there so that I can have something for it to hang off of. Next, I'm going in with some of this white yarn that I have, and I thought it was great not only because it kind of made it look like icing going all the way around our gingerbread man, but also because it was a really great way to cover up and hide any of the cardboard that might have been peeking through on the sides, or if I didn't cut absolutely perfectly, it was a really great way to just disguise any of the cardboard that might have been peeking through. Because this is a kitchen DIY video, I not only wanted to have a gingerbread man sign, but I really wanted it to look like a gingerbread cookie. So to add some faux sugar onto my gingerbread man, I took some of this fake snow, and I just took the glue stick that I had been using earlier and placed it down on the front of our gingerbread man, and then I sprinkled the glitter on top and kind of pressed it a little just to make sure that it would stay in place. And then I waited about 30 minutes just to make sure that all of the glue was dry, and then I just shook off the gingerbread man in case any of the excess glitter came off. For a couple of embellishments on our gingerbread man, I took this little floral pick with berries and I added a little bit of white paint so it looked like it had been out in the snow. And then I took two of these jingle bells and I gave them a little bit more of a rustic touch by adding some brown paint. Then I went in and added the floral pick kind of like where his bow tie would be, and then I added the two jingle bells down at the center of him. Buttons would also work as a substitute for the jingle bells, or I know that they make some of those buttons that look like food shapes, so if you had those, that would be really cute to add to this adorable kitchen DIY too. This last DIY is a super easy one, but I had to include it because what is a baking themed DIY video if I am not decorating one of my mini rolling pins? Here's what you need. Like I said, this one's super easy. I took one of the mini wood rolling pins that I got in a pack at Hobby Lobby, and I just painted the center rolling area white and then the handles in a dark brown. And then I have this really cute snowman scrapbooking paper that I also got at, I believe, Hobby Lobby. And I just cut this to size and I'm wrapping it around the rolling pin. I love doing these rolling pins for all different seasons, so I tend to just tape them together rather than hot glue or Mod Podge, because then for the next season I will unwrap this and rewrap it to go with that season. So it's a good way to make an interchangeable DIY that you can use over and over again. And for the bow on this one, I picked this checkered red and white ribbon. I thought it looked very kitchen-esque and also kind of fit with the holidays. And then maybe if I leave this up throughout the winter, I will change it to a white sparkly bow to kind of go more with the snowy winter theme. Thanks for watching. I will see you all in 2022. Until then, keep searching, keep creating.